Hi there. It's pretty late, but I decided to do the live video to answer one important question that keeps popping up. And the question is, how many iterations are enough? When people understand the need to self-correct their work, when people understand that they need to become more aware of their practice routine, if they have any, and of the mistakes that they're making, and of what do native speakers imagine, what concepts do they see, what images do they see when we speak, what intonations do we hear, what intentions do they hear, what intentions do native speakers hear when we speak. And in communication, it's very important to understand the perspective of another person so that we can, first of all, gain clear perspective on what's going on any situation. We can communicate our perspective very clearly, and we can understand the perspective of another person. And when we talk about communication across different cultures, the most challenging thing is to understand the perspective of another person. We don't understand why native speakers get upset. You know this if you work in an international company, that you just write an email that you think is correct to write and correct to send, and your English-speaking colleagues might tell you that they will say something like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you having the attitude?" And you didn't even mean to show any attitude. So perspective is everything. In order to understand their perspective and to be able to clearly communicate your perspective, you need to become aware of what you're actually saying, what effect it makes when you say things, what impact your words make. Now, it is one of the most difficult tasks because we are learning to develop in cognitive skills in a foreign language, cognitive skills in English, which means thinking skills. All the skills that are related to gathering information, analyzing information, processing information, making sense of it, and then communicating information. What we feel is information too. Reading is a cognitive skill too. So if you can't read in a foreign language so that other people will understand what it is that you're reading, you're not developing your cognitive abilities. Public speaking or any presentation skills, these are also cognitive skills because we communicate information. We need to deliver an idea. We need to plant an idea into somebody else's mind. But to me, presentation skills or public speaking skills are not really about convincing people, because what I hear most often is that people want to plant an idea, a very specific idea in somebody's mind against their will. We're not talking about hard sales. To me, communicating a compelling idea rather means showing your perspective very clearly and helping another person gain a clear perspective on what's going on any situation. And to me, a presentation is always a conversation. I'm not talking at people if I'm delivering a presentation. I rather prefer to be talking with people. And again, this is one of the most difficult tasks, understanding how other people think. Because if you understand how they think, you understand why they use this language. Writing is another cognitive skill. And if you're getting ready to get your degree in English, or if you, like myself, if you got a bachelor's or a master's degree in the English-speaking environment, so I did my master's in Germany and all my studies were in English, you understand the pain of writing. We were supposed to write a lot, and if you're a foreigner and if you're just starting out, you start writing those written assignments and you bring them to your professor and they tell you, look, this just doesn't make sense. These words in English don't make any sense, even if you put them together. And the first impression you get is that you think that something's wrong with that person. Something's wrong with these people. What do you mean it's not clear? I understand everything I wanted to put on paper, and here it is. It's very clear. And then you go to the next person and to the next person, and every next person tells you, look, this doesn't make sense. Even if you put words together, these words together don't make any sense. So learning how to write is another important cognitive skill. Learning how to write in a foreign language is I mean, once if you can do that, don't worry about your speaking fluency, because your speaking fluency will skyrocket if you know how to express your thoughts and your ideas in writing in English. But again, coming back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, how many iterations are enough? When you start to learn or practice writing skills in the English language, you will find yourself in a situation where you need to edit a lot. You will write, you will edit again, you will not like it, you will edit again, and then you have to rewrite the whole thing, but you will be constantly in the process of editing. How many edits are enough? Let's take a situation where you practice your summarizing skills, you practice your speaking skills. How clearly can you articulate your thoughts on a given subject? How clearly can you articulate your feelings without hurting the other person's feelings? So, how many iterations do you do? Usually, people who work with me, who are learning together with me, they know the power of iterations, and usually they will submit the final version. That means they try a few times, and the homework or the practical task is usually to record either a voice message or a video message. The version that I'm getting is not the first version that they record. They record it a few times and they send me the final version. And when people are starting out, especially people who are taking the listening course, they think they have to make it perfect. They understand that the version that they're ready to send is not perfect. They listen back to what they said. And by the way, if you are doing that, that's already a huge step towards awareness, because most people don't even listen back to their own recording because it's very painful and they don't like to become aware of how they actually speak and sound in English. So if you are the person who listens back to all the iterations, to every iteration, and none of them makes you happy, you may get stuck with the idea that you need to make it perfect before you click send. And I want to tell you in this video that that's not how things work. You're gonna end up driving yourself crazy. That's it. And you're gonna get very overwhelmed, and you're gonna get burned out very quickly. Usually, I ask myself a question. I may start with multiple iterations, and then I'll ask myself, okay, at which point do I feel like I'm getting sick of it? I can't do another try because just the idea of it makes me sick. I can't do another iteration of the same task. And I count. My number is like 8. If I've done it 8 times, I'm sick of it. So with every person, the number is going to be different. But right now I'm talking about a bigger piece of work. If I'm working on a tongue twister, my number will be 25, 26. I can repeat one line 25 times, no problem, really. But if it's a longer piece of work, or if it's a 3-minute video that I need to deliver, if it's a story that is 5 minutes long, it's a lot of effort to record the same story 7 times in a row, and you just get tired at the end of it, at the end of the exercise. So my number is 8. And if I attempt to do it again, which means number 9, most likely, I'm not going to enjoy it, and the result is going to be even worse than the attempt number 2. This is why, if I know my number, I'm going to do 1 iteration less. Which means, in my case, I'm going to stop at number 7. Even if I'm not happy with the result, I'm going to stop at 7. That's it. I'm not doing it any longer because I never want to get to a point where I start hating the exercise. I never want to get to a point where I even begin experiencing symptoms of burnout. Never. Because if I do, I will not feel like I want to go back to the same exercise the next day. And I'm an advocate of an idea of a consistent practice routine. Consistency means consistency. You do it regularly. You repeat the sequence of actions in your routine, and you enjoy it. And you want to do everything you can to continue enjoying your routine. So then my number is going to be 7. The students in the Native Like Fluency group today are sharing that sharing with me that they're becoming more and more confident with their iterations. And if, let's say, a year ago, 6 months ago, it felt terrible to send an imperfect iteration, today it feels good. It is fun to explore what I'm capable of. It is fun to explore my learning process. How long does it take me? How do I feel if I need to deliver something spontaneously? And people feel a lot better sending a piece of work that is not perfect. They know that it's not perfect, but they also know that they should stop trying today. They should not do another iteration today because it's going to make them sick and because it goes against the idea of deriving joy from everything we do. And that's fine. Now, coming back to being aware, when you submit a piece of work that you know is not perfect, if you know it's not perfect, you're most probably aware of what exactly is not perfect there. And here's the trap. Make sure you don't fall into that trap of, I'm aware, but I don't know exactly what it is that I need to fix. If you are aware, you know very well what exactly needs fixing. So when you look back at your work, let's say when you watch a video that you have made, or when you listen back to the audio recording that you have just produced, make sure you use pen and paper to fix those mistakes in writing. You might hear that, oh, I mispronounced that word, or I used the word in the wrong context. And it really makes no sense to do the whole thing over again just to fix that one thing, because you've done it already 5 times and maybe your number is 6. So you should stop at this point. But you want to fix that in writing. And you will end up with a list of things that you are aware of. You're truly aware of the things that need fixing in this exercise. It is okay if there is more things that you're not aware of, because that's why you're sending your work for feedback. When I send people feedback, they usually go like, oh my God, I didn't see that in my own work. I didn't hear that. And that's fine. That's where you're receiving feedback. But you need to do your part of the work. So if you are aware of the things that need fixing, you have to write them down. And then you have to commit to fixing them. If you end up with a long list, don't start fixing all of them in one day and in one sitting. If you have a list of 10 items that you need to fix, well, if I had a list of 10 items that I needed to fix, honestly, that's a lot. And I would probably not submit the task on that day, but I would let it sit. I would not do more iterations on the same day. I would let it sit. I would sleep on it. And I would look at my list of 10 things that need fixing the next day. And when I'm in a good mood and when I'm in a good state, then I would, first of all, the first thing I would do is that I would divide piece of paper into 2 columns. So, and here on the left, I would write the things that I said, the things that are just wrong, right? I shouldn't have said them. And I hear them because I'm aware of how I sound and what I said. And I can remember the things that I said. Well, to help myself remember, I write it down. So I will write here exactly the things that I said. I'll probably ask myself why I said it. Was I not attentive enough? Is it a pattern that I'm struggling with? Because I want to replace the patterns that are not working for me any longer. And here on the right, I will write what I should have said. What I said, what I should have said instead. And then I focus only on this column on the right. And I read every phrase that I should have said out loud as many times as I need to until I feel like I own it, like it's mine, and I can say it again, no problem, without feeling like, oh, how did it really go? No, I own it. I can say it with confidence. And I would probably do another iteration of the same task the next day when I'm fresh, when my energy is fresh, when I'm in the right state, and I would do it again. Because if there are 10 things you need to fix in one story or in one exercise, and you're aware of these 10 things, you want to do it. You want to give it one more try. Just try it again. And it's fine to do more iterations of the same task the next day, or in 2 days, or, a week later. Why not? 2 weeks later, whenever you feel like going back to that. But let's say if it's something that I really need to work on, I prefer to not procrastinate. Just if it's something that I keep saying and I don't even notice that I'm saying, I only notice it when I listen back to myself, but not at the moment. That bugs me a lot. That starts bugging me so badly that I want to fix it right away. I go like, why did I even say that? Because I don't remember myself saying that. If you have 10 things in your video recording or in your audio that you're not aware of, don't worry, because you're not going to notice those. You're going to become aware of them only when you receive feedback from your coach. If we're talking about the listening course, that's when you receive feedback from myself. So that's the first thing I would do. But if the scenario is different, if you only have, one, two, three things, let's say a couple of things that you need to fix, and you don't feel like doing it all over again today, that's fine. But again, you want to fix them in writing, and you want to commit to changing those patterns. Committing to them means you want to actively do something. Maybe look it up in English. Maybe look it up in an English dictionary and repeat the definition out loud. Fix your pronunciation. Google the definition. Read an article. Whatever you can do to change that pattern. And I would commit to changing 1 or 2 things until I really master them. I might take mental notes or written notes of all the other things I need to fix. And I would take notes of all the other information, useful information that's coming in, but I will commit to that one thing that I want to practice. Let's say if you're the kind of person who always says the story about a girl, so you always forget your verb, the story is about the girl. The story is about that. And so many advanced students forget that little thing. They simply do not hear how they sound and what they say. And they know that they need a verb, but they don't hear themselves at the moment. And this is what I would work on. It's not something that I have to learn on purpose, okay? It's not something that I have to learn. It's not like I need to learn a new grammar rule. No, I just need to learn to hear myself, to learn to listen to myself. So I would probably play different scenarios in my head where I would say something like that. The story is about that. My presentation is going to be about, sales. Or the video that I watched the other night was about blah, blah, blah. I would play with different examples, and I would record myself and I would play it back to myself to make sure that I said the verb in every example. And if I hear that I missed it again, okay, I need to make sure that I arrive at 100%. So if I say 10 examples, each example needs to contain a verb. And first I plan it, and then I try to be spontaneous, and I practice that. I commit to practicing that and to fixing that and to replacing this annoying pattern with a correct pattern until I really get it. That's it. You commit to changing the things that need to be changed. And then you move on, and then you commit to something else. And trust me, when you commit to continuous, deliberate, and well-structured practice, you might be doing a series of exercises every single day or every other day, whatever your routine looks like. And you'll be doing simple exercises every single day. When you do that, it's impossible to arrive at perfection at the end of each exercise. It is just impossible, and it is not necessary. You will be doing many different, various exercises. Variety is good here. Variety is very good because it lets your brain explore. You switch from one activity to the next, but it doesn't mean that you're forgetting things, even if you think you're forgetting things. And the compound effect of this consistent practice is going to overwhelm you, and it's going to blow your mind. Because let's say 3 months later or 6 months later, when you try to record a video or an audio, you're going to notice that so many parameters have improved without you having to deliberately work on each parameter. You were working on something else, but this parameter has improved dramatically. Let me give you an example. I noticed that when I filmed my recent video where I'm wearing gym clothes and I'm telling you the story of my grandma and how she has been my greatest motivation to become flexible and to stretch my body and to work on my mobility. She has been my greatest motivation. When I filmed that video, I was surprised at myself. And I was amazed that I practically didn't have to edit the video. Because usually when I make a YouTube video, I have to edit a lot. Because I will say something and then I will go like, oh, I didn't want to say that, I didn't want to go there. Or there will be a lot of slips of the tongue. And there were some slips of the tongue in that video. You probably saw the captions that I added. I actually meant to say that. I said something stupid like, instead of an English-speaking country, I said a native-speaking country, which is definitely a slip of the tongue, but I don't feel like I have to do the whole video again just to fix that little thing. And I didn't feel like putting my gym clothes on and setting the light again this way and re-recording that minute, that moment, so that I can, put it back in the video as if it never happened. No, it's imperfect, but I'm very okay with that because I took notes and I added the captions. I added text there that explains to people what I meant to say. But other than that, I added it maybe 2 or 3 moments and that's it. And even now, I'm noticing this now when I'm talking to you, that this live video will need very little editing because my thoughts are clearer and my speech flows a lot better. And I can hear what I'm saying. So I do the self-correcting work every time after each video. But now, as I'm speaking to you, I feel that something has changed. And if you ask me what exercises specifically help me do that, I will not have the answer for you. It's the compound effect of this consistent practice. Trust me, if you do that, you'll be overwhelmed and you'll be blown away by what you can achieve. What's important is to make sure that your routine brings you joy. That means to not exhaust yourself with 200 iterations. Just because you have to be perfect, you don't have to be perfect. Because nobody is perfect, especially the first time you try an exercise. You want to give it your best and you want to develop this feeling that tells you, okay, that's enough for today. I've done my best. I've given it my best effort and I'm happy with the result. In order to be happy with the result, you need to have very clear parameters of what good results or of what a good result means. What a sense of accomplishment feels like. When you set unrealistic expectations for yourself, like I only am good when my results are that big. So when you start comparing yourself to people who have had 20 years of practice, of course it's not going to happen. If you have been working, if you have been into it for a week, you're never going to achieve the results of those people who have been into this for 20 years. You need to know what your parameters are today. And then you need to work on raising the bar for yourself and setting higher standards for yourself. But perfection is an illusion. People who say that they're perfectionists, they're simply afraid of responsibility. Accept that this is your best shot today and this is the best result that you can produce today and move on. And of course, keep raising the bar for yourself. Explore how much more you can do without forcing yourself to do better, but explore. Can I do a little bit better? Can I do one more line? Can I do this? What if I do another iteration? Oh no, not today. Okay, but tomorrow maybe I can do more. I consider myself a pretty advanced athlete. I can do a lot of advanced exercises, but I also have days where I know that I don't need to be lifting a heavy weight today. Not today. I will be working with my light kettlebell and I'll be very happy. I will be doing some exercises for beginners because that's what I should be doing today. I know that. And that's a way for me to introduce variety to my routine. Variety is necessary. If you only commit to doing advanced exercises every single day, what's going to happen is that you're going to get exhausted and you leave no room for play and you leave no room for fun in your routine. And that is important. Let me see if there's something else that I wanted to tell you. Well, I think that's it. Remember that we want to be aware. We want to become aware of how we actually learn the language, of how we speak, of what effect our speech makes on other people, and are we actually aware of the message that another person received when we sent it? We sent something, we sent a message, but are we aware of what has been received? That's a different question. We want to become aware. And when you become aware, the most important thing is to take action. If you don't take action, it only escalates. And if you don't take action again, it has no option but to grow bigger. So when you become aware of your mistakes and you do nothing to fix them, what happens is that they get bigger, and you get to repeat them again and again. But when you repeat them again, it feels worse. So when you become aware, the most important thing is to take action. Thank you very much for watching, and please leave your comments under the video. I will leave it in the feed. Thank you.